Living pain here. You probably saw the starting a little different. Going right to it, and I'll tell you why. I need to reduce the amount of stress in my life. As you know, I've been having these calf problems, and as you know, I've been saying, look, it's got to be stress related, applies in the calf. So what I did was I was so disheartened. That, man, I'm supposed to be starting my half Ironman training next Monday, a week from today. And, now I'm not even sure if I'll be able to run, and is this going to be chronic and forever and everything else. And it was just not good. And then in terms of yesterday, I think I'd mentioned to you, there's times I'm just sleeping, I'm dragging myself out of bed. It's everything, ability to focus, memory, everything is just not there. And at first I, figure, maybe the not getting up has to do with the seasons and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I reached out to my coach, Mark Allen, who, for those that don't know, Mark Allen is 6-time Ironman world champion, Hall of Fame. Arguably him and Dave Scott are definitely the greatest Ironman that have ever lived on the planet, that sort of thing. And one of the unique things about Mark is he coaches now. I think he's probably around 60. And he started way back in the day when nobody knew nothing about nothing. And so these early guys like Mark and Dave, they had to learn all on their own, and everything from training, the proper way to train, proper nutrition, proper supplements, proper ways to recover, proper ways to overcome injury, all that stuff. So Mark has been coaching me whenever I did pretty much anything from when I did my initial stuff when I was younger, no coach. But ever since I've had a coach, Mark's been the coach, and he's done, I can't say enough. This guy, anytime I have a problem and I contact him, he gives just the most stellar advice, great training programs. The programs took me, who I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a great athlete. I was, definitely, maybe second, third place at the, elementary, junior high, Catholic school, track meet, nothing crazy. I know sometimes you'll see in the basement, you'll see all those first place ribbons behind me when I'm working out. So spoiler alert, all those first place ribbons you see on the wall, those aren't mine. Those are my wife, Alice's. She was a 100-yard, 100-meter sprinter in high school, and she just cleaned up, won all the time, and blah, blah, blah. So for me, though, point being is I was I was a decent athlete, but not crazy. Although when I got into triathlons when I was older, one of the things is I did get pretty good. And the reason, well, there's two reasons. Number one is the best thing I did was get Mark as a coach. And then the second thing was I followed his training to a T. Whatever he said to do, when to do it, heart rate, you name it, and it works. And I worked hard. I was doing anywhere from 16 to 20 hours a week on average for probably 3 years, 2 to 3 years, and it got me qualified to the World Championships in Kona, qualified to the World Championships, the ITU World Championships, qualified for the World Championships of the half Ironman. So it was just awesome. Anyway, my point being, during all this time, trials and tribulations, Mark's been just a wealth of information, and any problems I've had, he's been able to help me solve. So I figured, hey, why don't I reach out to Mark since I signed back up with him? And I, explained to him what happened. And so he emailed me back this morning, and he explained that, that he's had similar, And that, he's had it where in training, both his calves just locked up, couldn't run. And that's essentially what happened to me. My calves locked up. And even walking today, I put a little picture of me walking down the stairs here. And I can't, it's like I can't walk. It's just this kind of leg shuffle sort of thing. And so, as he says, Brian, look, I'm not a doctor, but for me, when I had a similar sort of thing, I'm not sure if that's exactly it, but it was caused by adrenal fatigue. And basically the adrenal glands get fatigued, and it has to do with your cortisol levels. So basically it made a lot of sense. So what it is when you're under a lot of stress for a long period of time, basically your cortisol levels are really high, and your adrenal glands are, typically what they do is they secrete whatever to keep your cortisol low and keep you, basically on how do you put it? It basically keeps your cortisol levels lower, which is what you need to do in terms of, and if you don't have them lower and they're constantly high, then that's when your body starts breaking down and you get really fatigued, which is me. It's tough to get up. You have foggy brain, which is me. You have memory, which is me. You start in the Chinese, medicine, which is what he explained to me, is that the adrenal gland, like your calves, issues in your calves tend to identify that you have issues with your adrenal system. So what he had done in the past was he had taken some supplements and then went to acupuncture with something that worked really, really well for him. So again, he says, look, I'm not a doctor. I don't want to give medical advice here, but this is kind of what worked for me. And I looked at it and I go, you know what? He's right in that I've had issues with my cortisol levels before. And I had the strangest thing happen to me. One year did 4 Ironmans in 1 year, which is insane. And that's when I qualified for Kona, went to Hawaiian Ironman, everything. And I was training like crazy, right? And my cortisol, it turns out at one point, I remember going to the hospital because I had such severe headaches. It was just so bad. It was hurting. And I thought that there was something, like a brain tumor or something. It was horrible, and it was going on for a long time. So I went to the hospital, and they did all sorts of tests, and they said that I guess my cortisol might have been really high, and from all the training and stressing my body so much that somehow, I think, and it was a while ago, it's like 10 years ago, that my salt level was depleted, that actually I had very little salt in my system. And what was happening was, when you have very little salt, and salt is what I was told very important, that my body was actually holding on to salt, and it was my brain. I don't know, I got Dr. Fonseca who watches this, so I'm sure I'm bastardizing all of this and has nothing to do, but the net result, whatever was wrong with me, had to do with salt. And my brain with less salt was actually expanding, and it was pushing against my scalp. Inside my scalp, my brain was expanding, which was giving me just these wicked headaches. And the guy said to me, the doctor said, look, what you need salt. And so it was interesting in that I left the hospital. I went right to a grocery store that sells this popcorn that I loved. It was so salty. And I just started eating it, and as strange as it sounds, it was almost immediate within, that evening, that I didn't have this massive headache that I had before. And again, it had to do with cortisol. And then when that happened, I really stopped and slowed down all my training and all that stuff to kind of get back, because I was going like 3 years straight with very little rest, and that year was crazy. So anyway, I don't think that this time round it has to do with the level of training, because I'm not putting in that level of training, but I think the stress that I have is a whole combination of a whole lot of different things. As I mentioned, there's work, which all of us have stress with that, and there's things that I want to put in place. That's one of the things. Then, of course, aside from work, I'm in a business that's fairly immediate. You have to, clients, need stuff, you have to get it to immediately. Tends to be a lot of pressure, time pressure, and especially for me, if you don't do what you got to do, the client, I work on a consignment, or not consignment. Oh man, see, this is the brain fuzziness. I only get paid if, I'm in the recruiting business, so unless they hire someone, I don't get paid, so it's stressful. You got to make sure you get the right amount of candidates, you got to get them there quickly, all that sort of stuff. So that's just normal day to day, and again, I've eaten that sort of stress, and I've had lots of employees and stuff, so it's stressful, but in its own, if I was just dealing with work stuff, that's not gonna, send me crazy. Actually, out of everything, it's probably the least amount. But so that's one. And then when I combine it with, I'm dieting and I'm putting a lot of stress on myself to eat properly, and if I don't eat properly, I'm beating up on myself and all that. So that can be a little bit stressful. And then you also wrap in there that you're exercising, and even though I'm not doing the hours that I did before, I'm still every single day, like I'm rounding up a year, 365 days. I need to count it up, because it's probably 340 days of doing some sort of exercise every day. So you start putting that into the mix. And then, of course, just doing my vlog. It's not that it's stressful, but it's something that has to be done. So that's why I'm trying to shorten it now, because it would take, I'm videotaping it, I'm then having to edit it. And when I put all that stuff together, I bet on average would be, I'd say lucky a fast day would be an hour. Normally it's an hour and a half. Of recent, since I cut out a lot of the editing stuff, it's probably gotten down to about 35, 40 minutes. So I need to kind of shorten that. If I can get that down to 20 minutes, and then because I was doing that, I was getting to bed late because I wanted to get it done before the end of the night. So where I normally like to get into bed at around 11, shortly after, watch some TV, fall asleep before 12. Now I'm getting to bed at 12. By the time you fall asleep, it's 1:30. So that, you can see where I'm starting to pile it on. And then, of course, I have my weekends, and you start having to me, I would have my beer weekends, or beer cheat day, or Malo 5. And those are weekends that go on till earliest would be like 2 in the morning. Sometimes 3:30, 5:30, 6:30, I think. Normally 4:30 is usually a magic number. So now you start just piling that stuff on. And the other thing is with the high cortisol in because of the stress and giving it no break. And then when you start factoring in diet, when the adrenal fatigue, a lot of it, that I've been doing a lot of, aside from talking with Mark, I'm on YouTube now watching every little thing about adrenal fatigue and what you need to do and that sort of thing. And what do they say? Don't eat sugars. What was the other one? No sugar, no heavy salt. Stay away from heavy salt. Get more into the lean meats, stay away from carbs, right? Grain carbs anyway at this point. Stick with the lean meats, the dark leafy vegetables, certain, don't eat all vegetable or all fruits, you need more vitamin C, fish oil. So you start going through it all, and I start saying, okay, well, my diet has had, and then you saw the cold sores, which for sure are stress related. The fact that I can't sleep, my deep sleep, the one of the symptoms for this adrenal is not being able to get good night's sleep. So I have my Oura ring, which keeps track of deep sleep, and it's really poor. Some nights I get 6% of my sleep. It, might be 12 minutes or whatever is deep sleep, and then less for the REM is not there either. Although interesting, when I have one of my heavy beer nights and I go to bed and basically pass out, my REM and deep sleep is pretty amazing. So, you start just piling all this stuff on, and it just becomes this big ball of string. And now I'm looking at it and saying, okay, dude, we've identified the problem. The one good thing that Mark says is it doesn't have to be chronic. For him, I said, well, how long do you think it'll take for me where I can get back running again? And he says that for him, if he, changed, for him a big thing was taking, he gave me some supplement, I can't remember the name of it. Did a little video there of one of them that, anyway, I can't remember, but went to the health food store tonight. I ordered some stuff off Amazon, and he said that taking that, watching everything, and then when he was going for acupuncture, he could be back running in as little as 2 days, which blows my mind. And if he just let it heal itself and kind of run course, it usually would take a couple of weeks. And then again, not deep massage, just very light. Don't overdo it, sort of thing. So again, I was taking my power drill at times and drilling my calves. So I was doing a lot of stuff that, wasn't right. And then of course, hopefully I'm doing the right thing. I'm that pendulum. I swing from this to over there. So, you need supplements? Okay, here's the supplements. They say licorice works good. Okay, licorice root. Cool, I just picked up some licorice root tea. And then they say stay away from coffee and any stimulants. So I'm off the coffee, no diet sodas, anything like that. Stay away from the sugars, so it means, my puddings, although today, I'll tell you, man. So stay away from sugar, stay away from salt. So at the end of the day, I'm so tired by the end of the day today that, I go, I'll have a little bit of pudding because I forgot pudding has sugar in it, right? So I eat some of that. And then I go, okay, I'm going to have some popcorn. I know salt, I'm not supposed, but I'm going to only have a little bowl, just a little bowl. And then a little bowl becomes 2 bowls full, and then 3 bowls, and then a little bit bigger. And I'm like, what the hell did I do? And then I am like, I guess around 5:30, 6 o'clock, I'm like brain dead. Like I've got no energy whatsoever. So I have to crash on the couch, and I fell asleep for like an hour and a half. Took a power nap again. I'm trying to watch TV. I can't. And so the upside is at least it appears, we'll see if it's exactly what it is. I did call my doctor as well today. So I've got an appointment, but it's not in person and they're really busy, so I can't see it. They start with this phone thing because of COVID up here in Canada. Everything in Ontario is pretty much shut down with doctors. So everything now is either a initial phone call, a video, they may send you for blood work. I guess if it's really serious, they'll meet with you in person. I don't know. So anyway, this doctor, actually he's a new old doctor. My doctor just relocated, And I called and it's like, they have a doctor that was within, my doctor's good. And then they have a doctor that was in his practice. There was a few doctors, and this guy is great. So I had good, and then good moves away to too far for me to want to commute to. So now I got great. So I went from good to great, which is awesome. So this particular, and I've dealt with this doctor when my doctor was on holidays and stuff. So now I've got a good doctor. I've got some direction in terms of why I'm feeling stressed and all that, or what's happening with my calves, which it sounds like I have all of the symptoms of adrenal. See, this is trauma. Is that what I said? My brain is dead. You can just see, like, I'm just adrenal stress. I can't believe I forgot the word. Oh man, you're seeing firsthand how affected I am right now mentally, and tired and all the rest of it. So anyway, game plan. I am going to start eating better, which I did start today. I didn't yet do the calories, although it'll be on the screen, but they're going to be pretty low because I didn't go crazy. And I'm going to be staying away from the sugars, staying away from the caffeines, the stimulants, all that sort of stuff, taking the supplements and trying to reduce my stress levels. Exercise-wise, I'm going to start taking, I can't run, so I'll just be doing my weights, and I don't want to start biking until my legs are feeling a little better, and then just do it very light. And what Mark said is when I can start to run again, go very slow, and if there's any twinge or anything in the calves, just stop and walk. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to call LA Fitness and see if I can book a time to go swimming. And you're probably thinking, well, why would you book a time to go swimming? Well, COVID out here in Ontario, they only allow 10 people in the gym at any given time. So the way LA Fitness is working is you book a 1 hour block, so you can go in for 1 hour, do a workout, and then you're out. So I've got to call them and see if I can I'll substitute my running for a swim, keep it really light. And swimming's so non-jarring, and actually, if anything, I think one of the things that has always been a benefit of swimming is the water's fairly cool, so that has a really good effect on your muscles in terms of recovery and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's where I'm at. And life, trials, tribulations, it doesn't really bum me out too much, because what's life if it doesn't have its challenges to keep you challenged and all the rest of it. Although all I want to do is I just want to be able to go for a nice jog. Run, man. All I want to do is run, Forrest, run. That's it. It's and I think too, the other part of it, kind of wrapping up here, is I have noticed that my muscles take longer to recover, and I've been saying, well, it's age, but I'm not 100% sure. I think there is part of that, although I know guys that are my age that do really well, and they're still building muscle and healing and all the rest of it. So either it is age, or maybe it's age plus the higher cortisol, which I found people have been saying, it does take longer to repair muscle and build muscle and all that. So anyway, that's where I stand. And one of the guys that follow my blog, Dr. Fonseca, he may go, Payne, you're full of shit. That's not it. I don't know. But if it's something else, I'm totally open to it. In the meantime, I'm going to follow this and we'll see if I get any benefit. All I'd like to do at this point is just be able to walk without a shuffle. That's it for me. Oh, and you saw I did drop slightly, 0.4 of a pound, which is normal. Oh, that was the other thing that I think probably stress is, I'm losing weight during the week. Then I have my weekend and, I was eating sugar and salts and junk food, and my weight would go from, just think of last week, it went down to 199.4. And then over the weekend, it shot up to 203. And then prior to that, the week before, it was 201, and it shot up to 206, and then it comes back down. And I gotta think that having those swings like this has gotta have some effect on your body and abusing it a bit. So anyway, that's it for me. Living Pain. Have a good one. We will see you tomorrow.